It has been so long. And I really mean, it's been so long since I just got to record a video without a script. Also, it's been a very long time since I got to talk about the lore of League of Legends. And it's all because Riot is actually doing stuff. In case you don't know, among all the other news, like Riot now focusing more on ASUs besides just pumping out new champions, as well as giving us some nice updates on potential game modes, not to mention the amazing news from Riot Forge, well, there were also the news about the upcoming voiceover changes. We learned that two of them would be coming soon, those being Varus and Nidalee, with Nidalee finally hitting PTR. Now, before we dive into these voice lines in the good old way where I just disappear off screen and talk, I have to mention the meta story behind these voice lines. You see, we mustn't forget that these updated voice lines are essentially a passion project. These weren't planned to be part of League from the very beginning. It was actually the writers who fought for these hard. At least that's me quoting some writers on Twitter. So even though, as you'll see, these new voice lines are explaining some new cool pieces of lore, they weren't even planned to exist. And in some cases, some of the writers who helped write these lines left Riot mysteriously. Which is kinda a reoccurring theme for writers at Riot, and it makes me a bit nervous. Anyway, the real reason why this Nidalee update and the upcoming Varus update even exist is because both of them tie into the upcoming champion releases. Those being Melio, the Ishtali boy, and Naafiri, the Darkin. So it's really cool that these voice lines exist, but it still gives me a little bit of a sour taste. But now, as used to be an evergreen on this channel, let's dive into the new voice lines.
Claws and spears bring death. The kindred only finish what I start.
First of all, as always, massive props to Skin Spotlights. But more importantly, the first line we get is about death itself. At this point, it is no surprise that the lamp and the wolf are known everywhere around Runeterra, even though we know that other deathly spirits besides kindred also exist. So now I wonder if Ishtal also portrays kindred in their own special way.
Hunters in the sun can miss the beasts in the shadows, Cassante.
Then we have this line, which I believe is a little bit of a jab at Cassante's story. First of all, they are both hunters from hidden jungles. That's what this connection is about. Also, they are fairly close to each other on the map. But most importantly, Cassante's story is all about focusing on the big monster that he was hunting, while the real monster was the fact that it was ruining his personal relationships. That's what I believe the wordplay is all about here. But then again, remember that cats are actually nocturnal hunters, so it may be a lot simpler. Maybe Nidalee is just hunting at night.
Little firebug, our Pakiti trust you, but they are naive.
And this is one of the reasons why these new updated voice lines even exist. She is straight up talking about Melio, who of course is the next champion who is also gonna be from Ishtal. So it is likely that in the story, these two champions are gonna meet. And it especially seems to be the case since Nidalee is directly not only naming him, but also confirming that her Pakiti trusts him. I believe Pakiti is a brand new word, which is gonna mean something like members of her tribe. I kinda hope Nidalee is gonna get a story on top of this to explain this, because without it, these random words will just become a mystery.
Dog beast, I will show you what it means to be a pack mother.
And this is the second reason why these voice lines even exist. She also gets to talk about Naafiri. Of course, Naafiri is the Darkin champion who should come out after that, and she is the one who was teased to be a dog. Up until this point, it was never confirmed, but yet again, Nidalee is just calling her a dog. So we are finally getting a proper monstrous champion, and it's gonna be a dog. It better not be a cute dog though, it is a Darkin.
Love takes as many shapes as you do, Nico.
Next, we have this amazing line. In case you don't know, in Nico's story, we learned that when she arrived on the mainlands, that is, after her own island exploded, one of the people she came into contact with was Nidalee. And to put it simply, the two immediately bonded over the fact that they both like nature magic and they can transform. And yes, it was teased that these two spent a little bit of time with each other. And with this line specifically, I'm pretty sure it's confirmed. So there you have it, Nidalee and Nico.
I will chase you from this land, brass bones!
This line makes a lot of sense if you put it into the context of what's happening in Ishtal. Ishtal has been isolated from the rest of the world for many decades. And it was only very recently that Piltover started sending their giant digging machines to the south, where they started harvesting resources from the Ishtali jungles. In Kiana's story, we got a little bit of a snippet where she actually destroyed a few of these machines, and ever since then it became obvious that a lot of people from Ishtal are actively fighting back against the invading Piltovans.
How long can you survive outside your golden palace, princess?
And yes, Kiana is still from the high seat of Yuntal, which pretty much means she's the leader of Ishtal. So of course, by pure technicality, Nidalee should be considered one of her servants.
I spare no Kilash, Rengar. Meet me in the hunt.
And of course, because Rengar is also from the jungles of Ishtal, that's why Nidalee has a line specifically against him.
You think you understand the jungle, shaman, but you will always be an outsider.
I'm pretty sure this is not really a reference to any of Udyr's story, because he's controlling the powers of the demigods of the Freljord and the spirits of Ionia, but neither of them are really jungly. So this is just a reference to the fact that Udyr is in fact a jungler.
I may seem like you, Vastaya, but we are not the same.
And yes, as far as we know, Nidalee should not technically be a Vastayan. I don't know if Riot is gonna rewrite her story for the third time, but she should be a human. She just happened to be raised by the natural magic of the jungles themselves.
Oh, are you lost, little Pakiti?
And here she uses the word Pakiti once again, which makes me think it means a cub. You know, that would make sense, it's Yumi.
You wandered too far, little firebug.
Also, I did forget to mention that yeah, she is calling Melio a firebug, because Melio is gonna be using these little glowing spirits. That's what the firebug is referencing.
Dogs? Really, Nafiri?
Also, this line makes me wonder if she actually knows Nafiri from before. I mean, it was teased that these new voice lines exist because they know the new champions. So it is likely that Nidalee met Nafiri. I mean, it would make sense because if she's a Darkin, she would be right next doors on the map. So maybe Nidalee is gonna be Nafiri's biggest rival. Maybe it is gonna be cats versus dogs. But again, it would help if we got a new story for Nidalee alongside with these voice lines.
Nico, my world feels empty without you.
Yep, yet again, I'm pretty sure Nico and Nidalee are officially confirmed now. I remember when it was just a fanfiction.
Never return, brass bones.
And again, she's confirming they are fighting against Piltovans.
I believe this is called, kebab?
Not gonna lie, she has a lot of voice lines for throwing her spears, but this is the one that caught everyone off guard.
Justice, Rengar. Blood for blood.
And this is a reference to the fact that the Kilash, which is Rengar's tribe, killed Nidalee's adoptive cougar mother. In fact, the first time Nidalee ever transformed into a cougar from her human form is when the Kilash tribe mortally wounded her cougar mother and Nidalee was consumed by her rage. So here, by saying blood for blood, she is most likely referencing that event.
Paka, protect our own.
Also, here's another new word, Paka. I assume it's gonna mean family members? Okay, I'm really getting desperate for a new story to explain it.
This will make a good lesson for the Pakiti.
And again, Pakiti has to mean a cub or a young one. I'm pretty sure that's the only way this sentence would make sense.
Leave now. I will not warn you again.
Also, I know that this may seem meaningless, but I just really like this one random line. It feels so in character for Nidalee. She is from the jungles of Ishtal, which are trying to stay isolated from the outside world. So if someone approaches their territory, they just try to make them leave. And that's why this line feels so right.
The brass bones think they can conquer the wilderness, but nature cannot be tamed.
And again, this is one of the lines you're gonna hear when you move with Nidalee for the first time each game, but we learned that Brass Bones is her name for Piltovans, who are invading Ishtal.
I am never alone. My tribe lives in my heart and in my spear.
It is also interesting that she's calling her family her tribe. In the past, it was always just a family. That's how her story was written. But now that she is referring to them as a tribe, it gives them a sense of humanity. So I wonder if there's gonna be a new reveal that tells us that her family is actually a bunch of Vastaya.
My tribe calls itself the Paka. Only foreign prey call us Kashdaji.
Okay, never mind my previous question about the Baka. So the Baka is the name of the tribe, which means that the Kashdaji is probably a really bad word. Or it means predator.
Human, beast, Vastaya. These words mean nothing to me.
Also, never mind my question before that, maybe it's not Vastaya. As I said, she was raised by the jungles. Natural magic can get really crazy there. So maybe it is just really civil jungle cats.
I am pack mother, sister, daughter. I have no need to be anything else.
Again, a very clever line in her character. She just wants to live peacefully in her jungles. It's all very territorial.
My mother's title came to me heavy with Kilashi blood. With it, I keep our family alive.
Yep, this is the voice line that confirmed that Rengar did indeed kill members of Nidalee's family. And her adoptive mother probably didn't have a great time.
Guide me, pack sisters, as I once guided you.
Pack sisters are gonna be the other jungle cats, and this is referencing how she helped her tribe before, and now they are acting as one big family.
What new tales will the outsiders spin of their monstrous Kashdaji queen?
Again, she's using the word Kashdaji, which is most likely gonna mean something like a predator.
Trespassers call me Kashdaji queen. I will teach them my real name.
Again, a voice line about the exact same thing.
Meow! Anyway.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna hear that when she transforms from cat into her human form. And I love this one.
I do not question my two forms.
See, I would question it, but Nidalee has a really awesome past of really bad stories. Some of her first lore ever was pretty much like, yeah, why not? I wonder if this is what it's referencing. And that was the new voice lines for Nidalee. As you heard, there were some really cool and interesting pieces of lore. But I have to be honest, without any stories backing this up on Universe, the voice lines do feel a little bit plain. That's because she is using all of these new fancy words, which probably come from some of the Ishtali languages. But at the end of the day, we didn't even get a story that would explain the meaning behind these words. All of this is written as an old school update to a champion, as if it was VGU, complete with a new model, new story, and new voice lines. But that's not really the case here, which is why I am expecting a bit more, but at this point the Universe website became a desert, so I don't have any hopes.